All right, hey everybody, Dan here, stockmarketmentor.com, and I want to look at three charts today, which could turn out to be pretty flippin' cool next week. First of all, Microsoft, you see this 530 level here. Let me put my glasses on so I can see it too. So this stock has really been kind of pinging around, hadn't been able to get up above 530, right? So I'm setting an alert right here. We'll make that green because I want to buy this thing. Okay, so if this stock pops above 530, that would be a time for me to buy it. Of course, the issue is they report earnings next week on the 29th, right? So that is a big variable that we'd have to deal with. There's no telling what's going to happen between now and then, so let's not even try to guess. The bottom line, though, is Wednesday night, after the market closes, this is going to make a big move one way or another. My bet is that if it moves above 530 and can stay there, we'll say really for the first 3 hours of trading, something like that. If it can stay above 530, then we're probably going to see new highs. The issue that we have here is when the company reported last time, this was a huge pop. You could see it. It's a pop and drop, pump and dump, whatever you want to call it. 8%, which is a lot for a massive cap like Microsoft. And then it immediately traded down, like below the prior earnings report price. So this is definitely a stock that came under a lot of pressure here. And then since that time, it's just been kind of building this base here. And so now we've kind of got a base on top of a base. So I wouldn't be doing anything with this before it prints 531, we'll say. And then the other one, 2 out of 3 here, the second out of 3 is NVDA. Same type of situation here. They report on the 19th of next month, so it's going to be a ways away. Earnings are not an issue here as far as impacting the price. You could say, well, maybe this stock's starting an earnings run. No, Horseshack, it's not. It's just up a couple days in a row. This stock is also in a bit of a volatility squeeze. I wouldn't get too lathered up about it. But what we want to be doing here is watching at 190. See, all these stocks, they've got a level. They've got a particular level that you really, really want to be paying attention to because it matters. And it's kind of one of those things where close is not close enough. You want to wait for this to bump up above 190. Now, it's been up there a couple times before, but hope reigns supreme, right? So this is holding along the 50-day moving average as opposed to bouncing up along this. So the longer this trades sideways, the more solid this support gets right along the 50-day moving average. And so the longer the base, the more solid the launching pad. And that's really what we're looking for, is some kind of a launching pad to get this thing popping above 200. Now, that takes me to this one. If you're looking for a way to trade this on a leverage basis, triple X here, you can be looking at this FNGU. If this stock pushes, or if the other two stocks, excuse me, push above their resistance levels, I think you can see this go from 30 to 35 in a hurry. So anyway, that's all I got for you this weekend. Members, check out the strategy session. We put a couple on there today. Lumentum, which has done really, really well. We got that yesterday at the close. It's up nicely today. So check it out and then come back on Monday and let's go make some money. And by the way, if you're not a member, you're missing out. I'm telling you. That's all I got for you.